Where is the line between game and street harassment?
Wow, that's a good question. I guess it becomes harassment if you can't read the signals that they're not interested and you don't go away when the signals are clear.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, are there any other ways that you think the seduction community has gone down the wrong path?
It's such a big question because it's so mutated into this ugly mass. When I started it, you know the story of Frankenstein, don't you?
Yeah.
Frankenstein tries to bring a dead man back to life and it turns into a monster and he loses control of it and goes running to the village and the villagers chase the monster with torches and pitchforks. Well, I've created a monster, but instead of chasing the monster with torches and pitchforks, people are dressing up like the monster and trying to be the monster. So I just think it's mutated, it's metastasized into some bizarre subculture with its own rituals and nothing that I ever intended it to be. To be quite honest, if someone said, Ross, did you foresee when you wrote your first book that back in 1988 it would become this? I would say, fuck no. I just wanted a way to make a living and share what I had and have some fun. I had no idea. No one could ever see it. But I think I came along at the right time, where the internet was just starting to become available to everybody and people were ready to hear the message. It could never happen. If the community tried to get started now, no way. The media would shut it down with the current anti-male environment. So we started, I came along at the right time. I had the right skill sets because I'm a smart dude. I'm not saying I'm a good looking dude, although I'm a smart dude. I understand how to communicate. I understand how to play to the cameras. I'm really good at playing to cameras. Cameras bring me alert and alive. And I know how to say things in a way where you don't forget them. So I came around at the right time. I'm a really good marketer in some respects, not in all respects. So I happen to be the person, I think it was my destiny to do it, whatever that means. And so, yeah.
Oh, that's fascinating. I love the answer to that, especially the metaphor about Frankenstein, the monster. What are your thoughts about the negative portrayal of pickup artists in the media? Some of these portrayals have been extremely misrepresented and falsified, but what's your take on it?
I think a lot of those, it depends. Some of these pickup artists deserve it because some of them are pretty nasty people who, I don't believe, for example, in negging women or pushing down on women's pain buttons or making women prove that they're of equal value to me or any of that. And I think those pickup artists, I don't consider myself a pickup artist. Speed seduction is completely different. I think those people who emphasize or put attention on playing on women's insecurities, their fears, are doing a semi-dark thing. It's not the way to go about walking through life. On the other hand, a lot of these women who are writing these stories or manginas who are writing these critical articles are radical feminists. They see men as being criminal just for having sexual desires. I don't know how it is in Peru or wherever people are tuning in today, and thank you for giving me your time. But in the United States, men are pretty much now considered to be criminals until proven guilty, until proven innocent when it comes to our sexuality. There's a segment of the media that's very anti-male that considers men to be pigs. And it's okay to make fun of men. It's okay to ridicule men. If you look at The Simpsons, I'm sure that you get The Simpsons where you're at, the cartoon. Homer is portrayed as a buffoon, a hopeless guy who can't do anything right. His wife has to rescue him or his kids who don't respect him. If we put on a cartoon portraying a woman like that, forget about it. It would be taken off the air. So I think a lot of these articles and other media portrayals are done by people who are radical feminists, left-wing social justice warriors who want to take over the narrative completely. Some of the critiques from some of the things that read are true. I think what RSD was doing down in Japan, where I think was, I don't remember who it was it Julien Blanc or Jeffy? One of those
I
two.
think it was Julien Blanc, and was it 2014, something to do with
I don't remember. Forcing a woman's head down to his crotch, that's assault. So if that's indeed what happened, that's what the media reported that's what the women were saying happened. I don't know that that's what happened. That's an extreme I wouldn't take, to which I would not take things.
Yeah.
And finally, my biggest criticism is a lot of these businesses, a lot of these PUA companies are strictly businesses. They understand markets and business, but they don't really understand how to help guys, and they have no game themselves. What they'll do, their business model is they'll put on a seminar somewhere, say before COVID, prior to COVID. They do a seminar in, say, Sydney, Australia. And after the seminar, they'd say, if you want to become one of our trainers, sign up. It's $10,000 or whatever it is. As long as they pay the money, they get a certificate. And then they go train somewhere else and get a percentage of the money. But these guys are probably, a lot of them are virgins or couldn't pick up a woman with a fistful of pardons in a woman's prison. They're hoping. That's a crooked business model. I'll just come out and say it. I could have done that early on. I could have tried to. Well, first of all, there's no cloning me. There's only me. That sounds arrogant. Well, suck my balls. There is only me. No one can do the work that I can do. No one can do the healing work or the change work I can do. No one else in the community even claims to be able to do healing or change work. And I think if you take a guy who's, again, filled with envy, resentment, anxiety, and you send him out there and just throw him into the deep end of the pool, to use a metaphor, he's just going to drown.
Yeah. I want to do some justice here. So when we met back in London a few years ago, you told me about your healing work and how it's hugely important. And also something that a lot of people missed when referring to your kind of work. It was obvious to me that you were very passionate about it and about what you were doing and really cared about it. Since nobody else is really doing any kind of healing work, I would like to dive into this a little bit and address it now, since you mentioned it as well. You told me it's extremely important. What is healing work and how can it help people?
Well, it's simply doing the change work that guys need on different levels in terms of their beliefs, what they believe is possible for themselves, what they believe they can do, what they believe they deserve, what they believe they're equal to. It's getting rid of trauma that's around those things, any bad experiences they may have had. It's purging them emotionally. Once again, I'll say that envy and resentment are more than fear, more than lack of confidence, because we can see fear, not see. We're all very well aware of fear. We're very well aware of lack of self-confidence. I don't believe there is a thing called self-confidence. It's a bunch of habits that you do. That being the case, those are obvious, but resentment and envy and despair, those are subtle things. So learning a process where you can purge yourself of that and convert it, transform it into unconditional self-respect, into a desire and a willingness to go out and experiment and play with your world, and to forgive yourself and forgive the people who have hurt you in the past. These are almost, I hate the word spiritual. It makes me want to vomit because it brings up ideas of crystals and incense. If that's your thing, go for it. But for me, I'm more solid-minded, and maybe that makes me more rigid. I don't know. So that's what I mean by that. I do a lot of hypnosis. I've been doing hypnosis since 1987 when I first started learning it. And I first had it done with me or to me. And a lot of my work is healing hypnotic work. I love doing that. When people pay to see me, right now the maid is here cleaning up my house, but I have an old wooden chair. It doesn't have a cushion. I just sit on that rickety wooden chair and I do my magic. My clients sit on the couch. One of my cats, I call her Trance Cat, she'll sit in her lap and help them go into trance. I warn them, I say, this is trance cat. At some point during the trance, she's going to sit on your lap. That will only allow you to go even deeper into trance now. So yeah, so that's what I do. I think it's super important. There's a story I used to tell about a student of mine who took one of my courses, and I don't remember exactly what he did, but he went to a club, he used a line, did some of my patterns. Within 30 minutes, they're making out. And this chick is head-turningly beautiful. You've probably seen, if you've been to a club or a bar, some situation where guys walk up to a woman, before they even talk to her, they make a U-turn and walk away. She was U-turn beautiful, I call it. But he went right up to her, was using my patterns. Within 20, 30 minutes, they were making out. He decides he's going to get her phone number, which is his first mistake. He should have tried to bounce her out of there then and there. But anyway, she gives him her card and circles her cell phone number on it. It's her private cell. He goes home, figures, I'm going to play it cool. I'll wait 3 days. That's his second mistake. You got to call him the next day, because beautiful woman, she doesn't need to wait for you, and she's not going to, and probably won't even fucking remember you. So he waits 3 days, goes to look for the card. He can't find the card. Tosses his condo, his flat, can't find it. He figures, fuck, it's trash in there. I threw it out in the dumpster. So for 2 hours, he's one of these big blue dumpsters. They have them in the United States. I don't know if they have them in the rest of the world where you're watching from. 90 minutes, he's digging through cat shit, used tampons, rotting food, dirty diapers. Finally, he comes up empty-handed, no card. He calls me, says, Ross, I'm so depressed, I can't even talk to a woman. I've been depressed for 6 weeks. Why am I such a loser? Now, that really fascinated me, because he, as a hypnotist, he had amnesia for everything he did right. He forgot about how he got confident, forgot about how he approached her, forgot about all the stuff he used on her, how he got her making out with him, all this other stuff, because he was looking at his progress and his potential through the pain of his past. The pain of his past so distorted his perception and drove his behavior that he couldn't even see his own growth. And so this is an extreme case, but I think most guys who get into the game don't get into it because they have a lot of options. They get into it because they're either in a painful situation now or in their past, or both. So to expect students to be able to objectively see their progress when they have all this pain they're carrying around is nonsense. So one of the things that distinguishes what I do is I've come up with a really good learning strategy, a really good learning technology. You can go to any school, but if you don't know how to learn the techniques once you leave and there's no support, what are you going to do? So I believe I'm the only person to have cracked that and solved that technologically.
All right. Yeah, sounds fascinating. As you said, with other companies, all they care about is cash grab, practical boot camps and stuff like that, and then they disappear with people's money without going into inner game or any past trauma or anything like that.
I think some of them will try to go into inner game, but they don't see the real deep workings of what's going on. So they're skimming the surface. None of them will talk to you about envy or resentment or the rest of that, because it doesn't occur. It's not on their map.
Yeah, exactly. Which other developments of game do you not like or want to distance yourself from? So negging is one of them.
Oh, demonstration of higher value, I think it's silly. Let's talk about that. Higher is measured by what? Higher is measured in what units of measurement? Inches, feet, joules, amps, watts? What does that mean? Higher value according to whom? Every human being has inherent innate value by virtue of the fact that we're human and we're alive on this planet, unless you're an evil fucker like a Hitler or or whoever is doing some serious bad shit to other people. Even then, your life has some value to it. So I think it's dehumanizing, and more than that, it doesn't make any sense. And then telling stories where you show you're a leader of men, a protector of innocence, whatever, it just comes off as bragging. They're ignoring the central thing, that it's about creating emotional states. How do you create fascination, connection, desire, lust. And I don't think you do it by talking about yourself. It's just an observation. And I have lots of female friends and former girlfriends, and they said, you were the first man who didn't talk about himself. In fact, I didn't know anything about you until the third or fourth week we spent together. So I think it's deeply, fundamentally flawed. Now, I may not be getting it. Some people might say, well, that's not what it's really about. And good, bless their hearts. I don't have time to debate it with them, maybe in a subsequent program, but that's really where I want to distance myself. And then there's some people who get into ugly shit. The MGTOW stuff, which I think they have some good points. Some of the MGTOW stuff they have some good points about women who are over 40 and unattractive, and they still feel they're entitled to a great guy, someone who's got it all, the money, and I say, hey, the guy who's got it all, he's fucking that 20-year-old daughter you never had because you were busy doing something else, building your career. So they got that right. But some of the things they say about women implying, and this goes over into red pill too, implying that women have an exclusive on being narcissistic and Machiavellian and solipsistic. These are human flaws. They go across genders. They're demonizing one gender to deify another. And I think this is intellectually dishonest as well as being not useful. They're intellectually sloppy. I actually had the opportunity, we had scheduled a debate between myself and Rollo Tomasi at a 21 convention. He backed out. He backed out of the thing. I would have mopped the floor with him, but that was, guess it was not to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of which, to what extent do looks matter? Does appearance matter in attracting women?
So, well, without game, first of all, what kind of looks to which women? I think I've met women who like guys who are short. I had a friend who used to teach seminars with me, Charlene. She liked guys who were bald and a little bit fat, a little bit short. Danny DeVito, the actor, she was obsessed with fucking Danny DeVito, and Julien was cute. She's about an 8. So I think women pick up on energy and posture and confidence much more than men do. For men, we're very visually oriented. So my answer is, what kind of looks according to which women? I'm I want to define my terms. So what kind of woman, which woman, at what age, under what circumstances, at what level of skill set? I would say if you don't have any game and you don't have any confidence, then your looks aren't going to get you anywhere anyway. I've had some very good looking clients, by my standards at least. I think by objectively what society measures as being symmetrical and muscled, and they've also had money, but they are clueless when it comes to communicating with females. And they also have issues with their self-esteeming and their other emotional issues, and they don't know how to communicate. They just don't. They talk about themselves, they interrogate women, or they talk about data-driven subjects, like instead of describing their vacation in sensory-rich terms, they give the data. Well, I flew on Hawaiian Airlines, cost me about $700 round trip. I went to the beach. It was really pretty. A narrative rather than something that engages the senses.
Yeah. That's why I really hate the question and topic. It's heavily debated in the community, like only looks matter and stuff like this.
This whole thing about Chad Thunderfuck. This is the MGTOW people who won't look at their own issues. Well, women are just superficial. Hey, maybe you've got issues in how you communicate. Maybe you've got emotional issues. Maybe you have no social intelligence. Maybe you don't even have basic hygiene. Stop pointing the finger and look in the mirror, dumb fuck MGTOW. While you're at it, suck my dick hair.
So I think maybe we
They're
can
a bunch
all
of
agree.
whining losers.
Yeah, it's not solving the problem as well. I think maybe we can all agree that, let's say in the context, it doesn't matter if you do have game, personality, communication to have in place of that, because those are the things that actually matter. in terms of keeping someone's attention and interacting with someone. So can we all agree that it doesn't matter what you look like as long as you got that personality and
I
your
wouldn't go that
communication on
far.
point?
I wouldn't go that far. If
Okay.
if you're 400 pounds, your nose hair is going down to your chin. You don't take care of your basic hygiene. You wear a wife beater t-shirt. Oh, I'm a wife beater t-shirts with gaping holes in them, and you stink. I can't help you. I have told students in my seminars, hey, you smell really bad. You're making me gag. Go up to your room and take a fucking shower. I don't tell them in front of other students. During a break, I'll take them to one side and tell them.
Yeah. Okay. So with a little bit of context, we can say looks don't matter. It's about personality communication, as long as you're keeping up to the basic standards like hygiene, take care of
It
yourself
might matter to
physically.
some women. There may be some women who are so rigid and so unmovable that you're just not going to get them. That's fine. I don't care. Who cares? Listen, there's 9 billion people. How many billions of people in the world now? 9?
7.8, 7.9 billion.
7.8. So there's about 3.5 billion vaginas in the world. Well, I can afford to miss a few here and there.